What's up everybody, my name is Avesta and today I'm going to be teaching you how you can edit dark photos inside of Lightroom. So I'm not going to be teaching you anything about the library part. I'm pretty sure you guys know how you can import files. You just drag and drop. It's really simple. I'm going to be teaching you the develop part. Okay, so what you're gonna need to do, you're gonna go into develop and then this is what you're gonna get. So in here, you can see that I have a really dark image. I suggest you take your images using RAW, and that's a file format which you can choose in your camera's menu system. If you don't know how to do that, you can just go ahead and ask me in the comment section below. But as you can see, I have a really dark city over here, city landscape. It's at 50mm with f6.3 I think, and also 30 seconds of exposure time and ISO 320. So I'm going to be teaching you this part, the basic, which is what this video is. It's a basic tutorial for people that just want to get started. Let's reset. So this is the image that came straight out of my camera. It looks really detailed, but it has a lot of noise. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and open up the bit. It's gonna look like this. You're just gonna tap on it to open basic. Now you have a couple of selections over here. The first one is treatment. Color, black and white. Black and white is also called B&W. So yeah, it will turn your image black and white. It's really simple. So then you have profile. Profile is for the type of colors and the presets. I don't usually use these, I make my own profiles, but go ahead if you want to try it. This is your white balance selector or picker as some people call it. If your white balance is off, you pick a place that the white balance in that isn't off, and then you can just go ahead and fix the white balance. I don't have any problem with the white balance in my image, but if you have your problems, go ahead, fix them. So this is the tone part, which is the important part. I'm going to teach you the tone and the presets. Now, let's start up. Exposure is the amount of light inside your image, the brightness of your image, as some might say. See, if I turn it up, it will be too bright. If I turn it down, it will be too unbright? It will be too dark, sorry. So, if you want to reset it, you can just tap here and then type in 0 and enter. So it will reset it for you. I'm not gonna touch exposure because I don't need it here. I will show you in a second why. Contrast is the amount of difference between the dark part of an image and a light part, a bright part of an image. So I'm gonna zoom in here. As you can see, I have a really bright light here and I have a really dark spot there. As you can see, if I turn up my contrast, it will make the dark parts more darker and the bright parts even more brighter. And as you can see, let me reset so I can see. The difference of after and before is a lot. Let me show you in reference view over here. This is the before and that is the after. As you can see, it has darkened the darker parts and enlightened the light parts. Let me turn that off so that you guys can see the full screen. I'm not gonna touch contrast in this image either because I don't know how it's gonna turn out. After I've edited it, I can go ahead and play with the exposure and contrast sections. Now, let's go down. Oh, I didn't talk about auto. I will talk about it at the end, so don't worry about it. So highlights, it will only change the bright parts of an image. As you can see on this light, turn it up or lower. I won't go this low because it will make my image look kind of washed out. So I'm just gonna go almost 50. Now as you can see, the bright parts of my image are less bright, which I'm pretty sure you prefer because the detail is more. As you can see, you can't see the house there, but now you can see some pieces of the house. But it looks washed out. What do you do for that? This is where the next part comes in. So you have your highlights down. Now what you're gonna do is you have your shadow slider, which is pretty self-explanatory. It makes your shadows brighter and it won't touch any other part, but it will give you some noise. As you can see, when I turn this up, it will make the shadows go higher. Then you add the whites. I don't normally touch this, but because the shadows wasn't enough to brighten up my image, I will turn this up a little bit just to make my image brighter. And then I will fix the really bright parts afterwards. I will show you how. As you can see, my image is a world apart right now. I'm gonna show you another way of it. Here you go. As you can see, the before and after of my images is a lot of difference, but most people don't like this. This doesn't look good. I don't even think it looks good. So what do we do? I'm gonna tell you at the end because I don't want to do it right now. Don't go too overexposed on this. I'm just gonna go for 76. I think that's okay. The shadows is too high as well. I want to lower that a little bit. But the blacks is also self-explanatory. And also a tip, I wouldn't use the contrast. I would just use the black and white to tell it how much difference I want between the dark parts and the bright parts of an image. But whatever, you can, if you're not used to it, you can just use the contrast slider and be done with it. But I don't do that. So for the blacks, if you turn it up, the blacks go whiter. If you turn it down, the blacks go blacker. And this doesn't look good at all in this image, but it will be used in many cases, like for weddings and stuff. I will show you in some of my other tutorials, which I will be posting in a couple of days or weeks. I'm not gonna touch it too much because, as you can see, if I turn it white, it will make my image look really washed out. I'm just gonna do that much to it. Then we have the presets. The preset sliders let you control the amount of texture, clarity, or dehazing of an image. And it will also let you edit some of the colors. Although this is not the color part. I will show you the color part in this. I will not be showing you the color part in this. I'll be showing you that in the next one, in the next video. So, you have the texture slider. All of these three are self-explanatory. If you turn up the texture, it will turn up the texture of your image. Pretty self-explanatory, as you can see. Don't use it too much because it will make your image look really kind of really grungy. So yeah, I don't use it that much. Clarity adds a bit of contrast, that's why I don't use it. I use texture, I don't use clarity. Dehazing is for astrophotography people. It gives it a kind of purple look, which I don't prefer, but it's okay. Now, the vibrance and saturation slider. The saturation has more of a red hue, so if I turn it too up, you can see some pieces of my picture have turned red, and I don't want that. But the vibrance doesn't do that much. It doesn't turn the image red, it just boosts a tiny bit of the colors. It doesn't boost every single color. So, now as you can see, if we go to the before and after, you can see that there's a lot of difference in these two images alone. I don't use saturation, but go ahead if you want to use it, use it. No one is here to judge you. So guys, I told you at the beginning that I'm going to be telling you how you can a little bit darken this part and lighten that part. Well, for that, my friends, I will be using this. This is called the graduated filter. You can also use M for it, but I just tap on this. So, this is used for horizons, but since we don't have a really clear horizon here, I'll be just using it like this. Now, as you can see, this is too much, but I will fix it. Just give me a second. As you can see, it's created a line for me, which under that line, it will turn down the thing or turn up the thing that I want. So I think that the highlights are good over here. The saturation is too much, let's dial that down. Let's turn down the clarity and texture a little bit. I don't want it to look soft, but I just don't want it to look like that. Now, we're done with this. I told you we will darken the down parts, but what happens to the top part? How do you lighten that? We're going to use the graduated filter again, but this time we're going to do the opposites. We're going to do that, And here we go. I don't want to turn down the highlights. I want to brighten everything. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take up the exposure just a tiny bit. The saturation has destroyed my image, but let's turn that down. Now I'm gonna turn up the texture of that part and only that part. I don't want to do contrast because actually it will help my stars a little bit. Let me zoom in so to show you. I'll zoom in afterwards, but yeah, it will help my stars. So let's just zoom in again. So I'm not gonna use contrast here. I'm just gonna use exposure sliders and stuff, so don't worry too much. I'm just gonna take up the shadows a little bit, and it looks really bad now. Okay, it looks really bad, right? The tint is off, so you can just fix the tint by doing that. Yeah, this is better now, but it's too bright and it has too much noise. I didn't want to be teaching this in this tutorial, but let's just go ahead and do it. I'm gonna go down. Okay, let's just press done. Then I'm gonna go down. It looks off a little bit as well, so I'm gonna fix that as well. I'll go down and I'm gonna do some noise reduction in the detail section. As you can see, my image right now has a lot of noise. Let me zoom in to show you guys. As you can see, there's so much noise in this image, and you can also see it here as well. I'm gonna be fixing that with, not sharpening, with noise reduction. So it will make my image look softer, but my image is frankly really sharp, so I don't care that much about it. I'm gonna go 70, and wow, that has fixed every single problem I had with this image. And now I'm gonna check out the before and after. A lot of difference. There's a lot of difference in the horizons, a lot of difference in every single piece, but it still doesn't look natural. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and color up the parts that I want. So I don't want it to be too clean. I don't really care because I just want to do this fast for you guys. So to make it look a little bit better to make it look like the top part, that's because of the saturation. I'm gonna fix that in a second. We're gonna make it look like it was foggy there. Actually, we're gonna turn it down a little bit. No, turn it, yeah, 17. This looks better. Now, as you can see, our job is done here, and as you can see, there are stars that weren't even seen in the last image, but now I can see them. The city looks a lot better, like a lot. Like, let me zoom in on this. You can see that the colors are a lot better, and everything has just been pieced together. So guys, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please support me by subscribing to the channel. It will mean a lot to me. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.